GINA CARANO Cara Dune's Star Wars role to be recast. GINA Carano's Star Wars role, Cara Dune, might get recast after all. Giant Freaking Robot reports that Lucasfilm is currently considering a new actress to take the role. Almost 2 years ago, Lucasfilm announced that Carano would not appear in future Star Wars projects. She was removed because of her controversial post that she had made on social media. This was a big blow to Carano's career. Carano's character, Cara Dune, stood out in The Mandalorian. She was one of the favorites that they introduced in the show. There were even fan campaigns to keep the former MMA for Dune, but there were also suggestions on who Lucasfilm could consider. But unfortunately, it was announced that there was no plan to recast Cara Dune. There were plans to make a spin-off series titled Rangers of the New Republic, which would have been sick, starring the titular character. It was even hinted in The Mandalorian that Cara Dune had an open invitation to join the New Republic. But since Carano's removal from the franchise, the development of Rangers of the New Republic has dwindled down, so much so that the people speculated the show has been cancelled. So I think now they're replacing it with Ming-Na Wen as Fennec Shand. I think perhaps they're going to make a show about her. That's like the rumor. In November 2021, Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy did confirm to Empire magazines that plans for Rangers of the New Republic would be put into The Mandalorian instead. Technically, the Cara Dune is no more, and we were supposed to not hear about her again. Apparently, Dune's character is too hard to ignore. After 2 years since removing Carano and the character from Star Wars, Lucasfilm is now reported to be open to recasting her. Big mistake. It was a surprise to hear from many, but one example could be James Gunn. Disney fired him in 2018 from Marvel after some old offensive posts resurfaced and questioned him personally. It delayed the plans for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and it did affect the actors who have been very supportive of Gunn. After 1 year, Disney rehired Gunn to continue Guardians and even add a Christmas special. Does this give GINA CARANO a chance to possibly being hired again to come back as Cara Dune? I think if they were to recast GINA CARANO, to recast Cara Dune, I think it would be a really bad mistake. I think that to recast her would not only make so many people just jarred and unhappy, but it would take so many people out of the story if they're watching the show and it's like, oh, hey, Cara Dune, and it's like someone entirely different, unless they deepfake. I think if there is any sort of rumor or decision to recast Cara Dune, I think Lucasfilm should really think on that decision and ultimately decline such a thought. So let's discuss some of the best options for Lucasfilm to deal with Cara Dune no longer being in the show. I think recasting is out of the question, and I think killing her off or saying that she died in some sort of a ship collision or something lame would be ultimately very disrespectful to her, to the fans. It just wouldn't be the best choice. So let's discuss some stuff.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to another vid. So, while of course I am extremely excited about The Mandalorian Season 3, almost as excited as Ahsoka, which is a lot, there is something that I do want to talk about with the community, with you guys, and that of course is on the topic of Cara Dune, GINA CARANO. You know, we're all really excited about the show. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, but it's going to come down to a point. There's going to be an episode in the show somewhere, I assume, unless they're just going to not mention it at all whatsoever, which even then would be weird, where they're going to mention what happened to Cara Dune. She had a really important role in the second season at the end. She got promoted. She was a ranger of the freaking Republic, of the New Republic. And this is a pretty high up position. So she was like an official. She was right there handling business with the ladies, and they all came together to put a gallant effort in to save the day and, of course, hold off the room as much as they could from the Dark Troopers until Luke Skywalker showed up. And in the end, she was one of the heroes. So how are they going to deal with GINA CARANO, Cara Dune, no longer being in the show? I hope that they do it with some sort of respect. Now, first of all, let me say first and foremost, I wish she never got fired. I don't think she should have been fired. I think she should have stayed on the show. And I think she was a very popular character for a lot of women and a lot of men. I really liked her. I have her Funko in my other room. I don't think she should have been taken away from the show. And I'm just wondering, how are they going to handle this? How are they going to deal with GINA CARANO, with Cara Dune no longer being in The Mandalorian after having a pretty high up position in the show itself. So I'm thinking, you know, maybe they're going to say something like, oh, she is off on a mission somewhere and we just never see her again. Do you think they would deep fake her? Do you think they want nothing to do with her to the point where they won't even mention her at all? At the end of the day, it's pretty sad. I feel like she was a really great character and I like GINA Carano. I wish she was still on the show. I think she added a lot to the character. She added a lot to the show and she was a badass character. I'll tell you this. If they're going to come up with some stupid excuse as to why she's not around anymore, like, oh, she died in some sort of a collision, head-on collision, like Cara Dune was on that ship, and they have like a moment of silence or whatever where Mando's sad and then they move on, I'm going to be pretty pissed. You know, it's already really unfortunate that she's not in the show anymore. So it's a really touchy subject with how they deal with the character now not being in the show anymore. It was already strange that she wasn't in the Book of Boba Fett, but now being in Mando, it's like, how are we going to just gloss over the fact? And you know what? They might not even want to touch that subject. They might just not even mention that she's around. And if they do, I wonder how they're going to do it. If she still was in the show, and let's say Grogu was still off with Luke, which I think he really should have been. I don't think he should have been taken back with the Mando that soon. It just really undermines Season 2's finale completely. I think he should have stayed there a little bit. He should have learned a little bit more about the Jedi, about, you know, his people, about Yoda, and used Yoda's lightsaber. And then when he was ready, he would go back to the Mandalorian. And during this time, Mando could have his own arc, and Cara Dune could accompany him on some missions. Maybe she's like, you know what, you need to go do this on your own. You need to go to Mandalore by yourself. And he gets in some trouble with Bo-Katan. And then he realizes that, okay, we need another strong female lead to come in, and that will be Cara Dune. But we don't have that anymore. Now, Cara also saw a lot of the experiments that were going on in the Empire, a lot of the back-to-tank figures, the Snoke figures, whatever they were trying to do. And as we know, Carson Teva in the trailer was talking about some new power that's emerging, something bad is going on, and something is coming. Could this be Moff Gideon? Could it be Snoke? Could it be Palpatine? Could it be some other Sith that we don't know about, or a Dark Jedi? Either way, Cara Dune has had quite an integral role in many of the episodes for both seasons, especially in the second season. So for her to be MIA and just completely absent after like learning all this stuff and going on all these like character building missions with Grief Karga and Mando, it's unfortunate that she's no longer part of the team. And I'm curious to see how they handle the situation in universe, in the show, because we all know what happened in real life, unfortunately. But when it comes to the show, how are they going to deal with this? So here are the different scenarios of how they can handle this. Either they just don't mention it at all, which is most likely probably what they're going to do. But if they do, and they mention that she died, I think people will be really, really unhappy with that answer. I think a better answer, like this is the least that we could be getting with this unfortunate circumstance of her not being in the show anymore, is that she is off on a mission somewhere and she's taken a leave of absence, or she's trying to do something that is integral to the storyline and we just don't know where she is, and she's off like in the galaxy somewhere protecting someone or on a base somewhere else due to her promotion. That's really the best they could do. But if they go and kill her off, that's just such a slap in the face, dude. It's not cool. So there's different ways to do this, and I'm wondering how they're going to do it. But I would like to ask you, what would you want to see with how they're going to deal with GINA Carano in The Mandalorian Season 3? How are they going to deal with Cara Dune? Do you think they're going to kill her off, or are they going to explain that she's just off on duty somewhere else? It is Jon Favreau. It is Dave Filoni. And in my opinion, I think Jon Favreau liked GINA Carano. Now, of course, I can't speak factually. Anyways, that's really the only thing I'm cautious about with The Mandalorian Season 3. Other than that, I think the show is going to be great as usual. And this could potentially be our biggest season yet, with a lot of really exciting and fun things happening, both in lore and some new things that they could bring into the story. You know, tie-ins with Ahsoka maybe coming in there, maybe Luke once again, but maybe even Boba. Who really knows what happens if they go off to Tatooine? And we could get a couple Boba episodes in The Mandalorian Season 3, which would be nice because, you know, Mando was in Boba's season. Either way, I just hope that they can do it with some respect, and I want to know what you guys think, how you think they should handle Cara Dune's character moving forwards. Kill her off, or say that she's off somewhere doing something. Who knows? For me, I hope it's the latter. I feel like she was a really good symbol of hope and strength for a lot of men and women out there, and her character was pretty dope. So hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching today's video and listening to my thoughts on it. I'd love to hear yours, and I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you always.